Welcome to Morning Cafe. Today we are at Kigali Genocide Memorial and we are going to be having a sit-down interview with one of the communications officer here at Kigali Genocide Memorial, and he's going to be sharing with us the topic that we have for today, which is uruhare rw'urubyiruko mu kwibuka amateka ya Genocide yakorewe Tutsi in 1994. We're going to be talking to Mr. Didier Rutagungira, and he's going to be sharing with us a lot on this topic. We're going to also be with Tutsi again, who is also going to be with us as my co-host for today, and welcome you to the show and be with us as we learn and engage and interact, as we learn even more and get equipped with the right knowledge and the right information that we need. Welcome to the show, Mr. Didier.
Thank you.
We're honored to have you in the show.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes. So as Tracy said, we're going to be discussing on the role of the youth in preserving and maintaining our history, and the history that happened in Rwanda in the 1994 genocide that happened, the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, and we're going to be having the communications officer at Kigali Genocide Memorial. As she introduced, he's Didier Rutagungira. And before we go any further into the topic, can you please introduce yourself and let people know who you are, aside from your name and also what you do here?
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here, and my name's, you just mentioned them. I am the communications officer here. I joined Aegis Trust, which is the organization that is managing this memorial, around 2014. So I've been here around 7 or 8 years already, and since I started in 2014, I've been working with communications, and I love what I do, and I like what I do here.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Yes, and we are to have you today, and we are definitely going to be diving into this topic that we have. And our first query will be, why is it important for us as a country to remember? Personally, in your very own opinion as Mr. Didier, why do you think it's very necessary for us as a country to remember?
I think it's very important for a country or for people to remember their history, and for us as Rwandans, I believe if we know our history and if we can remember actually what we've gone through as a country, we can pick up lessons from what we've gone through, and it can help us actually to move forward and to not repeat the mistakes that have been made by the people in our history. And very specific for genocide against the Tutsi, it's really key for us as a country to remember where we've been, what really happened for this country to actually go through the genocide, and for the citizens, for the population actually to take measures and lessons from that history to be able to move forward and build a better country.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
So as we said, the topic is preserving the history and also maintaining it, and it's one way that, you know, as you said, that helps us to remember each and every year so that we cannot forget, knowing the mistakes and also making sure that it doesn't happen again. So why do we need to preserve our history, or why is it necessary for us to preserve and also maintain the history? What do you think is the reason as to why we have to preserve it and make sure that people also remember each and every year?
I think it's key actually to be able, I mean, for us as a country to be able to remember. There are those who have been here, who have experienced this history, and there are those who were actually born after the genocide. So for us, it's good to be able to put together all those evidences of the history, and very specifically for genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, for us to be able to help others to learn from it. If we don't have evidences of that history, we cannot really teach teach other people, because all these evidences are there to help other people to learn. So it's really key to preserve the history.
I guess it also proves the point for the deniers, those who actually, say it didn't happen. So it has to be there as the tangible example.
Yeah, absolutely. So like everything that we have here at the memorial, they are all serving as evidences of the history. So if people say this and this has not really happened, or we don't have facts to prove that this really happened, we have different evidences. We have pictures, we have videos, we have letters, we have journals. So all those things are here actually to prove that this happened, and whoever is trying to say that this did not happen, there's facts to show them.
Sorry to cut you short. The letters and the journals are the ones that the victims or the people that passed on, are they the ones they left as letters to their families, or are they journals that describe their whole journey?
They are. So, I mean, we've got actually some of the victims who brought things that they had, maybe from the families, what they left before they died, or we have also the magazines, also things that have been released in the media. We have Kangura, we have Kanguka. I mean, all those things are there actually to serve as evidences of the history.
Yeah. So we're heading on to the next question. How can history, and the memory be preserved? Because some people actually think that, it can be preserved through the talks that people attend. It can be preserved through the memorial sites that are, there. But, what can, how can they be preserved in different ways? I mean, you can enlighten us and let us know how it can be done.
Maybe I can give you examples of what we are actually doing here at the memorial. We do have things that were recorded. We do have audio, things that were recorded on radio during that time. We do have images, so audio-visual materials. We do have all those journals, as I just said, the magazines, newspapers, all those things. We try to digitalize them so that we can keep them for a long time, for the next generations actually to have access to those. But also we capture stories, we have capture conversations. We do run conversations here with historians. We do some talks with journalists who were actually part of the coverage of the history of the genocide. So all those things are there to actually bring together knowledge, bring together what people actually have as lessons learned, as their own experiences, and we try to put them together in places where actually those who want to learn can be able to learn. So we do them in different ways. There are those that we have that are kept in our archives, but we also continue to hear testimonies, because there's a lot we can learn from the survivors. And to be honest, we haven't actually been able to capture maximize taking all those testimonies, but that's something that we do gradually. So we keep on listen to the testimonies. So we capture all those, we put them in our archives so that people can learn from them.
How can history and memory of what happened be preserved? In what ways do you think it can be preserved?
I think it can be preserved in all those forms that I just mentioned, and I think we're also encouraging new ways, actually, the creative ways to preserve all those memories. That's where we bring in the contribution from the young generation, because most of them actually contributing through arts. So there are those who actually compose poems, there are those who do sketches, and we also have young people who are actually going into communities and capture those stories in terms of video, photography. We run workshops here that helps young people to go in the community and capture all those stories. So there's there's so many forms that you can tell that we use, and we try to adapt to time, because I mean time keeps changing and people learn in different ways. So we are also trying to adapt with the time, but those archives that we have, we try to really keep them in a very safe platforms where people can actually get access to. And we're using also the new technology. We are uploading all those evidences on the website. So we've built different platforms where people can actually get access to those materials without necessarily come at the site. So you can actually learn from you can learn the history of genocide just in front of your camera, and, I mean your computer, and you just browse and see all those things.
Why do you feel like I'm asking this following up on you saying that you're using the tech world that we're all in these days, which makes it very accessible for different people and different people across the world? Why do you feel like technology is one way that is very strategic for the spread of what happened and the acknowledgement of sharing it with the people in the world to know the truth of our history?
We believe as the memorial, we need to go with where the technology is going. If we say people are not going to, I mean, all of them are not going to come obviously to this site and see what we have here. So we do get requests from different people who can't make it to come to Rwanda, but they really want to learn. So we, as the memorial we had, I mean, we were pushed to be able to create all those platforms to help those people learn from where they are. And if you see people are using social media to actually deny what happened here in Rwanda, and if we don't have something virtual, if we don't have something that people can actually go to and prove that something happened here in Rwanda, there's a genocide that happened here in Rwanda, then we are missing a lot. So that's why we felt it's very important for us to use the mainstream media. We need to use all those websites and any other platform that can really help us spread that knowledge and help people learn from where they are. So we need to meet them where they are. They don't have to come here.
So among the things that you just said, there's this challenge that as a country, Rwanda, that we all face. But then I want you to tell us how you try to cut this challenge down. You talked about technology, and it's real. We have to go to with the technological world. But then we face the role of the deniers. They also come in. They have a way of reposting what you said, commenting and stuff. How do you deal with that in the challenges or in the challenging part when somebody comes in?
Yes, I mean, as it is for all of you, you see what is being written, you see the message that is being spread throughout the social media of the deniers. So what we do here is to actually also put out the messages that we believe should be actually heard out there. So we try to use, we have a documentation department here, which is really doing a great work in terms of collecting all those evidences to be able to use them through social media. We do write articles, we do arrange interviews with different media houses around the world to actually make our voice really hard out there, and it's working. I mean, these people are there and they have a target, they have a mission to do, and we are also here actually to help the world learn, because this memorial is actually not only a place for remembrance, but it is also a place for learning. So we do all we can with all different platforms, all means to teach the world about the history of genocide against the Tutsi, and we try to actually help other young people, obviously, because they have shown interest to actually own this history and we try to help them, equip them with knowledge, equip them with what we know about the history, and really help them to go and actually talk about the history. So we have equipped young people. They have created platforms. They have created Facebook pages. They have groups on social media where they can actually respond to the messages that is really wrong about genocide, and we feel that this is really doing work. I mean, it's helping us.
It's helping.
But it's a journey.
So thank you so much for the good work, and keep going. But then let's head to the challenging part. When we talk about preservation, as the memorials, Kigali Genocide Memorial, what are some challenges that you face while trying to preserve these memories, and also trying to make sure that the history doesn't perish? Because you talked about receiving information from the survivors, gathering information from back then, but you probably meet some challenges along the way. So can you please share with us, tell us some challenges that you face while trying to collect and bring those evidences together as the memorial?
Yeah, there's obviously challenges in this work. I would say first being a history which is sensitive. It's not something easy to actually collect all those information. I'm saying this because we have survivors who have experienced this tragic history or tragic event, and for them, there are those who are actually able now to speak about their experience, but there are others who are still really struggling to talk about their history and their experience. So we feel we are still facing that, and we're not rushing through that, because we believe people who have experienced the unimaginable experience, it's up to them to say, I am ready to do this. So we are still trying to do all we can to be able to collect all those stories. But again, I can say that there's a lot that involves in preserving the history, in terms of finances, in terms of equipment, in terms of skills. Again, so we're trying all we can to be able to do the work, because we feel it's really important. But if I may say, those are the few things that we face on a daily basis to be able to do it. But we're getting there. So there's still a journey to go through, but we're doing all we can.
Okay. According to statistics as Kigali Genocide Memorial, what can you tell from the numbers of back then and nowadays, the people who are eager to learn, eager to come here and visit and read the stories, look at the evidences? In this part, I would be really intrigued if you tell us about the youth, because I feel like they're the ones who are definitely the ones who need to put in more energy, more effort in finding out what happened, evidence, and watch the videos, watch every single thing that makes them see what actually happened, because some of them were born after the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. So what would be your say on the statistics that generally you can see if before it was more, but now it's less, or is it vice versa?
I would say that the numbers keep going up, because even if we look at the numbers of the visitors, like in general, in the beginning, yes, we had very low number in terms of who actually come here to visit the museum, but it keeps growing, really, because I mean, in the recent numbers that I can remember, we have reached to maybe around 10,000 visitors a year who come actually through the museum and through other events that we host here, but mainly those are the numbers of people that we have like we registered books that have gone through the museum. It keeps growing, and we've seen young people actually starting now to get interested in visiting the museum, and really that brings joy to us, because we feel like they did not experience the history, the genocide against the Tutsi, but they're taking actually that initiative to own their history, and they want to know what happened. So the numbers of the youth also are actually growing, and they are not only going through the museum, but they're also taking initiatives to hold events in their communities and to be a voice for us as well. To go out in their schools, they create peace clubs in their schools, they talk about what they have seen here, and we feel like this is going to help us to have a good number of people who know actually the history and are willing to actually go out and speak about this history.
I think it's a good thing that happens. What do you think actually, this means to a country, and also to the memorial, that you are in, when you see people coming in and eager to learn? Because being honest, back then, especially to the new generation, nobody actually thought it regarded them to actually know about the history and stuff. But people are feeling, great, and want to be engaged, and want to learn about the history. So what does this mean to the country, and also you people who try and make sure that people have to get all the information as it is?
It means a lot. It means a lot for us, because we are here to help people learn, and we wouldn't feel satisfied if we keep this information here and it's not going anywhere. So for us to have young people who are eager to learn and take the message out and teach other young people in their communities, it really means a lot to us. And we feel like once the young people actually own the history, they are able to actually build a better future, and wherever they go, because we have young people who remain in the country, who do schools in the country, but we also have young people who go abroad, and they still talk about the history, they still talk about what they have experienced when they visited this museum. And for us it's a positive thing, and it brings hope. It really shows that there's hope for the next generation, and a generation which is different, a generation which is eager to do to create a new history, and a generation which is eager to build a better future.
Great. So talking about the new generation and the youth's number that you say that always increases, them trying to learn and know what happened in the country, obviously from the history of the genocide that happened against the Tutsi in 1994, what is that one thing or the role that you think the youth should play when it comes to preserving our history and also what happened to us as a nation?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think this is their history. It's not only for those who experienced the genocide against the Tutsi, but it can affect them in one way or the other. And if they choose to ignore the history, they're ignoring who they are actually as Rwandans. So we feel like this should be owned also by our youth, and they should take this seriously, and they should feel like they're not only doing it for maybe the memorials like this, but also for them, because they are the ones who are going to lead this country where it will be in the future. They are going to have children in the future. What are they going to teach their children? So if they don't get interested to know about this history, they can't teach it to their children. They can't be a voice for Rwanda. They can't be a voice for this memorial, if I may say. And there's less. I mean, there's no much they can do if they're not interested into taking responsibility to take part in preservation and take part in talking about what this country has gone through in 1994.
Wow, that's a very great answer. My question also goes as, what do you think the youth should do in influencing their fellow youth to preserve our memory as a country? Because through Rwanda Rwejo, the youth, and we play a very, 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 very critical role in preserving the memory of our country. In what ways do you think the youth can influence their fellows in preserving our memory?
I think they can. Our young people can use all possible means, using their talents, using their skills, to be able to influence fellow youth, to get interested into this history and help them be better citizens, people who are going to actually take good decisions and take their country in a good path that can actually bring unity, that can emphasize on living in harmony with one another. And our young people, they have energy, they have the knowledge, they are getting educated, and they're the ones who actually need to take this and influence other young people. And we are not maybe asking them to do that in the same way that we are doing it, but they can be creative in terms of knowing how can we speak to our fellow youth, what other channels that we can use to spread the message, what kind of creative way we can use to actually tell other young people to come along and join and also talk about this history. So it is open. So this museum is open for them, and we help them. We help them with skills, we equip them, and we believe once our youth are equipped, once they have knowledge about this history, there they can be really influencers. They can influence other young people.
Maybe there's some who are watching and they feel like they need to know the visiting hours, what is required of them to come visit the Genocide Memorial, what is expected of them so that they can come, because there are some who have not yet known about this.
Yeah.
And they're surely probably watching us tonight.
Yes. So this museum is open 7 days, and it is open from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. And we receive everyone who's really wishing to learn about this history, and it is free to visit this museum unless you want maybe other services like devices that you need to use to enhance your experience. But this museum is built in a way that can really help whoever can actually learn, can read, because we have panels, we have stories here written in different languages, in Kinyarwanda, in French, in English. So like whoever really want to learn about this history, there are infrastructure, there are ways you can actually learn about this history, and we are encouraging them to actually come and visit this museum. And we do also host different talks, different activities. We have festivals that we host here at the museum, at the memorial. All those things are there to actually help them and tell them, you come, there's so many ways you can learn about this history. If you love music, we have festivals around music. If you like films, we do have film screenings sometimes here, so they can actually follow the social media platforms that we use to be able to know what is coming up, what kind of event that is being hosted here, so that they can actually join. But there's plenty of opportunities for them to actually come and learn.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Didier, for coming, and honestly I thank you so much for teaching and being helpful. You were so open, so thank you so much for coming through. So we were talking about the Kigali Genocide Memorial particularly, but this is for you. What is that message of hope from Didier himself that you can give the survivors and also the new generation and the people out there, the Rwandans and everyone worldwide, the message of hope that is coming from you as Didier?
Yes, so during this time as we Rwandans and Friends of Rwanda, the world are commemorating for the 20th time the genocide against the Tutsi, first and foremost maybe I can say to the survivors, bakomere, bahumure, dufite u Rwanda rufite amahoro, dufite u Rwanda ruhari kugira ngo amateka yaranze iki gihugu atazongera kubaho ukundi. Navuga ngo turi hamwe twese, turi igihugu cyifuza amahoro no kubaka amahoro. Nababwira ngo bakomere, hariho ubuzima nyuma y'ibyo u Rwanda rwanyuzemo bikomeye, hariho icyizere cyo kubaho kandi tukabaho neza kubera ko bari mu gihugu gifite amahoro. To the young people actually who were born after the genocide against the Tutsi, I would say they're the ones who are going to actually build a better tomorrow.
Yes.
They need to get interested, they need to own their history, they need to take charge, actually own it and create a new history. And we have a country that is really supportive to the youth in terms of giving them what they need with knowledge, with skills, and the place, the museum is here for them to learn. So for people in general, I would say we have hope for a better tomorrow, and Rwanda is going through a very interesting phase that can really give us, that can promise us that today and tomorrow is going to be even better, because we have young people who are determined to build a better country and a new history. That's what I can say. Short,
Thank you very much, Didier. We really appreciate your time, first of all, and everything you've told us. I'm very sure us here and the ones watching, they are very, very much they're very much intrigued by everything that we've learned and everything that you've told us. Allow me, thank you very much for being part of us today in the show and being here with us, ready to teach and show the truth of what happened and show us that we have a great role as the youth to play in preserving our memory, our history, the genocide against the Tutsi that happened in 1994 genocide. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for doing everything possible to have this sit down with us to definitely share and tell the world and tell everyone else who is watching the truth of our memory and why we should work hard as the youth to keep preserving the memory of our history as a country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And keep doing the good job that you're doing. It will pay off one day. It is already paying off, but continue doing it, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
For having us,
welcome.
And welcoming us on this show, and it's a station for youth, and that's mainly your target audience. And we feel like you can come anytime if you want to, and we are here to help young people learn and participate in preserving the memory of the genocide against the Tutsi.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Didier.
We appreciate it.
Definitely. So to the viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. And as you heard, we were with Didier, the communications officer at the Kigali Memorial, Kigali Genocide Memorial, and he was taking us through what he thinks should be the role of the youth in preserving the history of our nation that happened in 1994, which was the genocide against the Tutsi. So we hope you did learn, and we hope you got something from him. And for those who want to engage more, you can come through to the Kigali Genocide Memorial, as he said. The opening hours he mentioned, but it's open, from Monday to Sunday. Those are 7 days of the week. Find a free time and come through and see what the country has gone through and what it has gone in, to make sure that you tell the stories that you know and have evidence for.
Yes.